Blog Talk Radio.
Today's franchise interview shout-out goes to the Source Direct. Source Direct is an inventor's one-stop shop. Source Direct eliminates the disconnect in dealing with different companies from each phase of development and marketing. Instead, Source Direct can manage every stage of the process from the drawing board to the customer. Go to thesourcedirect.net and find out how you can get started. That's www.thesourcedirect.net.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs more. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Mike Mallory, the vice president of franchise development in North America for Trend Transformation, a global full-service home and business remodeling franchise that offers stylish and affordable alternatives to traditional countertops, mosaic tile backsplashes, and more through a one-day resurfacing process. We're going to talk to Mike about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-5555. 3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com, or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you are listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the Franchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Mike Mallory, the vice president of franchise development in North America for Trend Transformation, a global full-service home and business remodeling franchise that offers stylish and affordable alternatives to traditional countertops, mosaic tile backsplashes, and more through a one-day resurfacing process. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Marty, thanks for having me on.
Oh, this is my pleasure, Mike. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from this morning, Mike?
I'm calling from Miami, Florida, actually.
Oh, fantastic. And where's the headquarters, Mike, for the organization? You know, I know the company actually started off internationally, which we'll talk about in a moment, but where are you based here in the U.S.?
So we are an Italian company. Our worldwide headquarters are in Vicenza, Italy, and then our North American headquarters are in Miami, Florida.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, both beautiful places, so you can't go wrong with either, right?
You got that right.
Yeah, this is a cool concept, Mike. You know, I was, before we have anyone on the show, I was the research, and I saw the videos and everything like that, and it's such a cool concept. How do you describe transformations to someone who is inquiring about the product or the service or even the franchise?
Yeah, it's a great question, Marty, and it's kind of hard to describe such a elaborate franchise system in a few words, but really it's easy for us. We're taking a remodel that normally takes, if not weeks, months, and we're reducing that down into usually a day or two with our proprietary material, which is an engineered stone that we manufacture in the United States, and with a very innovative process where we're actually normally cladding over existing surfaces, and therefore we're able to be in and out of a kitchen, bathroom, or other areas of the home very quickly.
Which you really, you're solving a big problem, Mike. I guess, you've been in this, business for quite some time now, and I guess, any type of remodeling project is usually pretty stressful, isn't it? Because, you're so used to, like, the workers being there sometimes for weeks, you know what I mean? And then it makes a mess, and then some things get damaged. But your process seems like, as you said, it's rather simple. You come in, you set it up, and the same day, and the work is spectacular, by the way. I've seen, the final product, and it really is amazing. So it sounds like Trend Transformations is also solving a common problem in the industry.
Yeah, you're right, Marty. We solve a lot of the pain that a consumer would have. People are very proud of their houses, and they really want to turn them into homes. They want to turn them into the places that they're very comfortable to be in. And oftentimes when you're doing a home renovation and demolition and tear out, you not only have the headache and the fear and all the other things that come along with doing demolition, but you also deal with the pain of not having a kitchen or a bathroom in your home. And a lot of people have very busy lives. They have kids. They have things that they need to do throughout the day or throughout the week. And we really want to alleviate a lot of that pain. And that's certainly part of our process. But when you add to the fact that we're giving them a pretty innovative engineered stone that never needs sealed, that has a lifetime warranty, we're also kind of giving them a lot of insurance down the road.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Does Trend Transformations, Mike, do you get into the business market as well? I know, of course, that you work with consumers, a lot of the videos, you're coming to people's home, but you also go into business establishments as well?
While our original franchise opportunity focused primarily on residential applications, we are in some of the largest commercial projects throughout the world. So certainly when you talk about a product that's an engineered stone that's thin but extremely durable, it can be used for flooring of large renovations of either kitchens, bathrooms, or getting into those large commercial projects of flooring for hotels or for airports or even wall cladding. So yes, a lot of commercial applications as well.
It's nice to have, both of those revenue streams, isn't it? Like to have B2B and also B2C. It really helps a franchise, doesn't it?
No doubt. It's hard enough to find a consumer that needs your product and or service these days as it is. But when you can fulfill so many different things for people, whether it be in the home or commercially, it sure is nice to have those different streams.
The company started, it sounds like the origin started, as you said, Mike, in Italy. Do you want to talk a little bit about the background and, how, Trend Transformations came to the United States?
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting story, Marty. That's where the technology process was combined with the age-old process of manufacturing. Trend is an Italian manufacturer of a lot of mosaics, a lot of engineered stone. Two gentlemen from Perth, Australia, came to Trend back in 1996 and asked them to make a special product just for them for renovating kitchens and bathrooms. And that's really where our franchise system started, in Perth, Australia, with some pretty innovative processes and then an amazing product that's made by the Italian company, which is Trend.
How many franchise locations does Trend Transformation currently have today, Mike?
We're currently in 9 countries, and we have over 150 locations.
The majority of our listeners, Mike, we call them aspiring franchisepreneurs. Most of them they know that they're interested in going into franchising. What types of characteristics do you look for in your franchise?
Yeah, so we're typically looking for someone that doesn't mind working hard. At the end of the day, I think a lot of times people have come to us and they've really never had small business experience. They've never owned their own business. And we understand, and I think that most people understand that have owned a business, you've got to work hard. Even though you've got a lot of support from a franchise system, you still need to put in your time. You need to make sure that everything's running right in your business. And that's, I guess, the first attribute that we're looking for. But we're also looking for people that are passionate, not only of owning their own business, but of working with people and bettering their lives. Because not only are you bettering a homeowner's life by helping them with their kitchen or bathroom, but you're going to be employing people. You're going to be helping people throughout their lives by helping them feed their families and helping them grow as individuals. So that passion really needs to be there for a new franchisee.
Has there been diversity? Like, I saw some really great videos of your franchisees. I think one of them was like a husband and wife couple, which I said, wow, that would make a great type of franchise for a husband and wife. But what were some of your franchisees' backgrounds? What were they doing before becoming franchisees to Trend Transformation?
Yeah, it continues to amaze me, Marty, how diverse we are when it comes to our franchisees. Whether it be somebody that did come from the construction industry, but that's actually pretty rare for us, to somebody that's been in a corporate 500 job, or somebody that's been an engineer, or somebody that's worked in computers. We really have quite a variety, all the way from lawyers to engineers to people that have been in home construction.
And that helps too, Mike, that diversity, doesn't it? It's having that kind of like that melting pot or different experiences. I've always felt that always helps a franchise, doesn't it?
It undoubtedly does. You're talking about a system should talk to itself and should learn from itself. And when you've got such a diverse pool to draw from, you really get a lot of experience from different directions. We've got franchisees that range from a couple that's 31 years old and all the way up. So we've got quite a diverse, not only age range, but also diversity when it comes to what they've done in their past and what their expertise is. And when you're talking about, grouping that together in a system, our Franchise Advisory Council, which is really important, I think, to a system, is able to then extend all that knowledge out to the network.
What does transformations do differently in the home improvement industry, like to make it stand out? Because of course there are other companies in the home improvement industry. So what does transformations do to kind of like distinguish themselves from the others?
Yeah, the main thing I think we've already discussed, the fact that we have a proprietary material that's sold nowhere else in the residential market. So we have our own engineered stone that's manufactured in Florida. And basically it's a unique selling proposition. When it's that thin and that durable, now you can clad over existing surfaces, therefore you don't have demo and tear out. So that's another competitive advantage that you've got. So if you look at almost every other home improvement franchise system, they're just teaching you how to purchase the normal products to put into a kitchen or bathroom. Here we've got a proprietary product that you would be utilizing, and you'd be using a very unique process and installation.
And the way I understood it too, Mike, is I was watching like a lot of the demos, and again, for our listeners, to actually see, how the whole thing works is really fantastic. It seems like it's like a lighter type of stone, so I guess it's like less stress, as you're laying it down. Is that how it works?
It is, but I'm also I'm fearful to call it light because it is so strong. It passes the a commercial test called the Robinson floor test, which tests a material that's laid on the floor and how much abuse it can take. And it passed that test at the highest level you possibly could. Wow. So while it is a thin, light material, it is extremely strong once it's attached. So that's really why our tagline, done in a day, beautiful for life, applies. We can install very quickly, and it is going to be nice for a long, long time, therefore the lifetime warranty.
There's so many franchise opportunities out there today, Mike, and we find that, doing the show such a long time now, a lot of our listeners they don't even know where to begin sometimes, because there's like 3,000 different systems or like 80 different industries. Why would someone consider transformations as a franchise opportunity? Some of our listeners, they might be saying, well, I have no experience in that industry, and that's not really necessary. But, what do you typically say to them when someone says, why should they go with your franchise?
Yeah, that goes right back to what do we look for in a possible franchisee? Almost everybody that comes to our system all have had something in common, and that is they've done a home renovation or they've enjoyed working with flipping houses or home renovation. So I would say that the number one driver for someone picking our system is that they have a passion for home remodeling. They like working within the home and improving it.
Right. That was interesting, Mike, because when I was watching one of the videos, there was a husband and wife couple, and the wife, of course, she loved that particular industry. She loved the whole concept of remodeling, where the husband was more like a hands-on kind of guy, and it just seemed like transformation seemed like a perfect match for them, so it was really quite interesting. What's the training like, Mike? Once you decide that you do like them and they like you, do they come out to Miami? Is that how it works for training?
Yeah, so training is about 4 weeks in the beginning, where they're going to spend a week for some pretty intensive overview training. Then we get into some pretty specific training on site at their facility, at their shop, or at their showroom. So 2 weeks of that, but also we have a mentor program where they're going to spend at least 1 week with their mentor franchise. So they'll be partnered with a franchise that has already been operating in the system. Therefore, you really get to see the ins and outs of running a franchise. And I think that's probably some of the best training that someone could get. Then we have ongoing training that is so important of keeping on top of all the different aspects of running a business.
That's fantastic. What is a typical day like for a Transformations franchisee, Mike? I mean, for our listeners who might be, they say, well, that sounds very interesting to me, but they don't know a lot about business. How would you describe a typical day, if there is such a thing anyway?
Well, I'm going to use an example that a new franchisee of ours, we had a particular franchisee come in and buy an existing, and he's been operating for a little over a year now. And he described to me his typical day is he comes in and meets with his people in the morning, and they're preparing their day because they're going to go out and they're going to meet a homeowner, and they're going to, in one day, transform their kitchen. And there's a level of excitement at his shop every morning because they're attacking a different project. And I would say that he would compare it to fishing, and that when he would get excited about going out fishing, there was nothing like the feeling when you were first getting prepared to go out on the boat and you knew you were going to have an amazing day, you were going to have a lot of fun, but you were going to accomplish something. And that's the way that he describes his day. So at the end of the day, there's nothing better than calling up that homeowner and really doing an interview with them like we are right now. You know, how did everything go? Was everything what you thought it should be? What can we do while they're there to make sure it is? And, hey, if you're happy, please let your friends and family know, because they're certainly looking for solutions for their kitchens, bathrooms, and general house needs as well.
That's fantastic. I love that analogy, and I get why you use that. You know, that makes a lot of sense. What's the typical investment like to open up a Trend Transformations franchise?
We offer a couple of different models. We offer a lighter model where we do the manufacturing for you, and all you do is sell and install. And then the secondary model would be where you also have a small facility where you do the fabrication of the tops and backsplashes yourself. So anywhere from $219 to $479 is our initial investment, which would include a state-of-the-art showroom, would include your flooring, your signage, your 3 months of operating capital, everything you need to get a business up and running.
What would you say is the growth strategy for Trend Transformations, Mike? I mean, if you could look into a crystal ball, 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see the organization?
Well, we look to have in North America alone, and we're currently at about 75 franchises in North America. We're looking to be at 200 franchises by 2020. And the reason why we can do that is because we can control a lot of our growth. And we have in the past 5 years, slowed down the growth of our franchise system because we manufacture our own material. We, at a certain point, reached our capacity. We operate 24/7 at our factory in Florida. But we've added a secondary line, so we can now produce 900 slabs of material a day. So now we've completely opened up our franchise recruitment, and that's why we have such a high goal, but such an attainable goal at 200 by 2020 in North America.
What advice would you give to our listeners, Mike, in their quest to buy a franchise? Anytime we have someone like yourself, on the show, with a lot of experience in franchising and your industry, I was mentioning to you earlier, most of our listeners initially are confused. They like the concept of franchising, but they just simply don't know where to begin. From everything you've learned about franchising, what advice would you give to them in their quest to buy a franchise?
I would say that a person would need to be 100% committed. And that's going to happen whether you're opening your own business or whether you decide to franchise. And we all know the benefits of franchising. You're joining a system. You're joining an already tested out concept. And really, by joining that system, you're owning your own business, but with a little bit of help and a little bit of branding behind it. But either way, you really need to be 100% committed. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to 100% put myself into this. You can't do it part-time.
I think that's great advice. We've been doing the show a long time. I think that's excellent advice. You can't be on the fence, can you, Mike? I mean, you have to be totally into it, 100%. It is a major commitment, particularly the first year, isn't it?
Absolutely, the first year. I mean, certainly, we've got a lot of owners that live very good lives, and they've got a lot of people that can run their business for them. They're still involved in their business, but they're not working in it. They're working on it. But in the first year, maybe 2 years, you definitely need to work within the business to make sure everything's operating smoothly, and then you can pull yourself out and start working on the business. And maybe that's when you start talking about opening up other showrooms or expanding your portfolio a little bit, but definitely you need to be committed that first year.
What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on Trend Transformations, Mike, as a product, as a franchise? Any websites they should go to?
Very easy, trendfranchise.com.
Easy enough. That's fantastic. And I'm glad I finally had a chance to have you on the show, Mike. When I saw, your product and I saw the videos, on the internet, I said, wow, this is really a cool concept. I get it, and I understand why it makes so much sense and why it's such a great franchise opportunity. So I've enjoyed having you on the show, and I'd really like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think this is terrific.
Marty, thank you, and have a good day.
You too, Mike. It's been my pleasure. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchisepreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822. Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now. We've had some incredible guests on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from Todd Leff, and Todd is the CEO and president of a franchise called Hand and Stone, and Todd has many, many years experience, and we always like to ask the veterans in franchising, what is your advice to our listeners as far as their quest to buy a franchise? And I thought Todd's response was quite brilliant. He narrowed it down to 3 questions you should ask, and we're going to hear that right now.
Spending significant time out there, really marketing the business, and that's where they can add value, to growing the business.
That makes sense. So you've been doing this such a long time. One of the questions I was excited to ask you is what advice would you give to our listeners on buying a franchise, Todd?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I will give you my 3 questions that I tell every new prospect. These are the 3 questions you should answer in looking at any franchise. One is, do you believe in the long-term growth of the industry? Because it's very hard in an industry that's flat or declining to claw away market share from other established competitors. So me personally, I was looking for an industry that had long-term growth potential. Number 2, do you believe in the underlying business model of that franchise? Because you can have a great industry and have a business model that doesn't work. So you have to get into the building a pro forma, looking at what the potential revenue is and what that would produce. And then the third question I tell people to ask is, can you see yourself fitting culturally with the organization, whether that's the management team that you'll be working with at the franchise, the people you'd be working with in the business, and the other franchisees in the system. Do you see yourself being able to get along and work with those groups and have confidence that these people can lead a brand forward? So I think if you can answer all 3 of those questions yes, then you really have something that you ought to investigate carefully and proceed with.
Wow, that's well said. We're going to have to, we have what's called the great quotes in franchising. I think we're going to have to put that in there. I think that's fantastic advice.
Franchise interviews from Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Discover a career that matters at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Be part of an innovative team delivering world-class healthcare and benefits to America's veterans. Enjoy robust benefits, work-life balance, and career development opportunities. Join a diverse and inclusive community that values your unique background and skills. A community where nearly 1 in 3 of your colleagues are veterans themselves. Apply now at vacareers.va.gov.
Some people just know it's easy to get Allstate's best price online. They also know where to get half-off pizzas on Mondays, courtside seats at nosebleed prices, and they know you can easily get Allstate's lowest price on auto insurance at allstate.com.
Prices vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.